yesterday was a little bit disappointing. Get back and turn on the Met game, and I'm thinking, okay, let's see if we could salvage this.
Yeah.
And it turns out to be a disaster. So let's just looking at some of the stuff that the Mets have been doing over the last few weeks. They've been averaging over 5 runs a game, I think, since early June. They have used a total of 24 pitchers this year. They can't seem to come up with the hit when they need the hit the most, especially late in games.
Yeah.
Guys in risk, runners in scoring position, they can't seem to get that key hit. It is frustrating for sure. Now, on the Yankee side of things, I'm going to give you a few numbers here.
Oh, right? You got numbers for me this morning.
I have 3 numbers for you.
You pulled out the Sharpie and the notebook today?
I did. I had to put these numbers down just to make sure I had it because I could. First of all, let me explain something. Watching this on Prime last night, I don't know how many people lost sound. I lost sound at least 4 times watching this game on Prime.
Yeah.
And then somehow the subtitles came on. And I know what I'm doing. Listen. I am tech savvy. I know what I'm doing. I know what's going on. I know where the subtitles.
Yeah.
The icon is. I know everything.
You're not like typical old guy when it comes to technology.
No, of course not. Typical old guy. Of course not. But I'm like, why does it keep going out?
Yeah.
And maybe, because I love listening to Flaherty. Big Head, I could take or leave. Doesn't matter. But Flaherty's great. And I'm kind of noticing it seemed like at least 3 different times the sound went out.
Yeah.
And then miraculously, just like we have in this monitor right here in this studio, the closed caption comes on. I don't know what happened last time, but that was really annoying.
And these are the numbers you were giving me? This is what?
No, but the numbers I'm giving you, 76, 61, 57.
71.
Nope, 76.
What?
76.
Yeah.
61.
Trombones. 61.
57.
57. Okay.
Those are basically numbers of guys that are on the back of Yankee jerseys that, like, what are they doing here? What are they doing here? They're just hitting home runs.
Yeah, Billy McKinney, right? Jake Bowers.
And how about Johnny Brito?
Johnny Brito, well, he wasn't hitting home runs, but he was pitching.
Yeah,
and he got a standing ovation coming off the mound last night.
I mean, these are the players that are here because of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And these players, all 3 of them yesterday, and for the most part, as those guys were talking a little bit about it last night, have really held the fort down for the most part. I'm not saying that they're catching the Rays yet. I'm not saying that they're one of the best teams yet. But, there is a thing. There's a winning DNA that's kind of understood with this franchise. And if you are a Met fan and you compare the two, and you compare the $43 million salaries, you look at the players that should be coming through, but don't ever seem to really truly come through when you need them, especially on a consistent basis.
Well, especially this year. I mean, it was a great regular season till it wasn't last year, and the team really authored one of the best regular seasons we've seen.
I know that, but
this year
has
been awful, and ever since then it has been absolutely awful. And I'm the one who's been saying I wipe out that 101 win season means absolutely nothing. I've been saying that for months and months. So I'm with you. And the Yankees have been disappointing in the grand scheme of the sense that you expect them to be in more World Series, win more championships, and that's the expectation that they created for themselves. It's not the expectation that we put on them. They have created that for themselves with the success that they have had and the standard that they have. And I guess the question is now, does the owner still have that standard? Because he's out there saying yesterday that he's confused as to why the fan base is so upset when we are in the 2nd week of June. And if he isn't in tune with his fan base and understanding why they are upset and why they could be disappointed, then I think that's a problem. Now, he did say, I hear them and they're upset and it's my job to listen to that. But, I mean, to say he's confused as to why the fan base would be upset to me is mind-boggling.
I think because it is June, and I think it is because they're over 500, and I think it is because that they're dealing with a ton of injuries. That's why. And there's very little you can do. When you think about your 40-man roster going into a season, there's very little you can do at this point in the season to change the guys that are playing here. Now, you can add a Billy McKinney. You could add a Jake Bowers.
Yeah.
You can bring up a Johnny Brito. These are the things that every team has to do through the season, and you're trying to keep your head above water. until everybody else comes back, until you get your full complement of players. And let's face it, this team is led by the best baseball player, maybe the second best baseball player in the entire league. And when he's not in the lineup, they're a different team.
Sure.
So I understand the frustration of the fans. Of course, I mean, I'm a fan myself of a number of teams around here, and I get frustrated just like they do. But I also try to be realistic and understand what the situation is at hand. The Mets, they have players that are not executing. They have players that are overpaid and are not living up to their contracts. The Yankees, I could say that probably about maybe 2 players on this team. When I look at this team and I look at what their outfield looks like, look what their DH looked like last night, who was pitching on the team, the fact that they've beaten Seattle 2 in a row now, and they are above 500, and they're still very much in the mix for the playoffs, whether it be wild card or even, division. You never know. We still have to get to the second half of the season.
Sure, I know, but I mean, we talk about reality, and there's 2 sides of reality. There's reality where you're explaining, yes, Aaron Judge isn't there, and yes, they are still above 500, and they're still in a place in a playoff position for a wild card, and all that stuff is reality. But it's also reality that the Yankees are staring up at the Baltimore Orioles and the Tampa Bay Rays, and the last time we saw them in the playoffs, they got swept by a team they could never beat. So, yes, there are 2 realities, and it's which one you choose to really look at. And I'm not going to blame any Yankee fan that is upset with the way things have gone this year. And it's okay to be. I mean, just because Aaron Judge got hurt in a freak accident doesn't mean that the fan base can't be upset about that and say, well, there's injuries and that's an excuse there. I mean, it pisses everybody off that he's not able to play. I mean, it's so silly that Dodger Stadium is built that way, and he ended up crashing through the fence and hurting himself. So the frustration of the fans is going to be there, and that's what you want as an owner. The last thing you want is for your fan base to be sitting around apathetic, that you're sort of spinning your wheels and you're looking up at 2 teams that shouldn't be better than you.
I'll tell you one thing. You talk about a team with a $340 million payroll who has got 40 losses. One of 4 teams in the National League that has 40 losses.
Oh, they're the worst. Trust me,
you compare them. And that
but
salary,
that shouldn't be the standard, though. You shouldn't be comparing the Mets and the Yankees. The Mets are a joke. We know they're a joke. They're a joke this year. It's pathetic. I mean, they just get worse and worse and worse. I'm not trying. And the Yankees have earned I'm going to say earn the right again. They've earned the right to not be compared to the Mets. I mean, come on, stop. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
The point is, like, I hear the angst. I hear the angry fan base. I understand that both teams are underplaying what you would have thought going into the season, especially with the teams that are in front of them in their own divisions. I get all that stuff, but I'm just telling you, watching this Yankee game last night and watching guys like McKinney and Bowers and Brito come out and do their thing, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That's what was offered to them. They have. Think about what their outfield has looked like for the until before Harrison Bader came back.
Yeah, sure.
You had Isaiah Kiner-Falefa playing center field.
I mean, they've done a nice job to keep their heads above water. Yes,
and that's what they're doing. They're treading water is what they're doing, and they're still winning. Listen, they're winning more than they're losing. And we're not even halfway through the season.
Yeah, and trust me, I'm not slamming the Yankees at all this year. I mean, they're the only ones that are giving us hope in this baseball season at all. That we're going to be talking about the playoffs come October around here. But I still think that Hal Steinbrenner should have a little bit more of an understanding about why the fan base would be upset. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying.
They also have the second highest payroll. You want to say Donaldson and Judge have been massive disappointments. I'm right there with you. Great. Injuries, ineffectiveness, strikeouts, can't come up big in big spots. I get all of it. I hear all of it. I mean, and I would have to say, maybe I don't know what Gleyber was doing on the base path last night. I don't know if he thought there were 2 out and he just ran into a double play, which they never really explained. You know what I mean? They were trying to dance around it. And to me, if
it's a mental lapse is what happened.
If that's another mental lapse, yeah. I mean, if you're Aaron Boone, I mean, I don't know, you got to sit his ass down, and you got to say enough of this. Yeah. I mean, if in fact that was the case, I don't know. They didn't really explain it much last night, and I didn't read anything about it this morning yet, so I have no idea. But that kind of thing can't allow that thing to happen if, in fact, that was the case.
Sure.
And maybe Jerry has some sound from somebody after the game last night about that base running gaff. But
well,
to me,
if it's from Aaron Boone, we're not going to hear it because we have banned him from the program.
Well, maybe it's Gleyber Torres.
Maybe. Maybe he'll explain himself. But yes, I do think that there is hope with the Yankees, especially when Aaron Judge, and not an if, but when he comes back and he'll be good again, that in this American League, they should be able to be right in the mix. And I know Tampa's been great. And I know the Orioles are playing above their heads, and I know the Astros are the Astros, but the Yankees are healthy, and Garrett Cole is continuing to be the dominant self that he has been. I mean, they're going to have a real opportunity again.
Look, they have one of the best, if not the best, bullpen in the league. They have a bona fide ace who takes the ball every 5 days and goes out there and gives them a chance to win. They're missing the best player in baseball that when he is in that lineup, it's a completely different set of circumstances. And I'm not a Yankee fan. I'm just trying to look at this thing realistically, that we are in June and we have a gazillion games to go. I'm not saying that, it's still early or any of that other, but we're not even at the halfway point yet.
Yeah, true.
We're close.
But I'll counter with this. At the end of the season last year, when the Yankees got swept by the Astros, Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner were coming out saying, and it was Brian Cashman specifically said, you would have thought that we wouldn't have made the playoffs with the fan reaction that we had. So there's a pattern of the Yankees feeling like they've done a better job than the fan base is feeling like they're doing.
Yeah, there's always going to be a loud, discerning, upset fan base, regarding players and player decisions and salaries. And salaries. And you take two of the salaries. Like I would say you take Scherzer's salary and you take, Lindor's salary, and then you compare that to the Stanton salary and the Donaldson salary. You say, there are your guys right there. They're your problem child.
Yeah.
When it comes to, especially when it comes to offense.
Sure.
Maybe not so much defense. Defense is important, of course. We all understand that. But everybody wants to see offense from these guys. And they're not seeing anything.
Yeah, Stanton and Donaldson, the money that they're making, the production that they have gotten from them overall is just not acceptable.
Right, so I'd be upset, too, if I were a Yankee fan about those two players.
Yeah.
For sure.
Uh-huh. Well, it's also, results that they've had. I mean, they didn't feel like they had a shot against the team that won the World Series last year.
And I would also say I'm frustrated with Rizzo right now, and Rizzo's frustrated with himself.
Sure.
I mean, I totally understand the feelings, the negative feelings towards a lot of these guys, but I also understand that, man, you gave $360 million to the second best baseball player in the league. And he's not there. And that is a huge hole in the lineup because it basically makes it easier for everybody else.
Yeah, I think that both fan bases, the Mets and the Yankees, went into this year saying, all right, how are we going to be better than last year? How are we going to beat these teams that beat us? And neither team right now has given the fan base to anything to believe that, especially the Mets. I mean, the Mets are not better, but the Yankees still could be better than they were last year. So that still is a possibility. And I think that's what the fan base wants to see. They want to see the team completely healthy. They want to see them go on a roll, and they want to believe that they can be better than they were the year before, which is a feeling that we are not going to have for the rest of the year with the Mets.
I'm just telling you, on this day, what is this? The 22nd of June, I'm telling you that once they get whole, they'll be better. They will be better than they are. I mean, like right now, they're a good team, but they'll be better once they have Aaron Judge in that lineup. I'm telling you. You watch, they'll reel off 10 wins. I'm telling you, they're that good. When I watch the Mets, it's a totally different set of circumstances.
Yeah.
The pitching stinks. They like I told you, they used 24 pitchers. This Tyler McGill, I mean, one game, he can go 5 innings and look like he's the next coming. And then the next game, he gets banged around and bombed, two innings in. Yeah,
pathetic. I've seen enough of him. I've seen enough of a lot of these guys. Leone, Nagosic, Tyler McGill, David Peterson. I've seen enough of them, but there's no replacements at this point.
That's the point. There are no replacements for either of these teams until the trade deadline gets here. And then what?
The Mets might be sellers. If you keep going down this road, you might be selling.
Thanks so much for watching the video.
Please like and subscribe.
And don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified when we're dropping new content.